Hey everybody, welcome to video number 2 of Continuity of Learning at Home. Message number 1 is, hey, can everybody try to get on Clever? The way you do that is, when you're on the internet, you click on the C. That's right there, next to the URL bar. You click on the C. Now, when you do that, it might not go so fast. You might have to really hang in there and do a couple of steps. If you need to pause the video and look at these steps here, please do that. So first you click on the C, then a window will show that you'll log in with Google. Now, no school might show, depending, because you're at home. If it does, just put in the word Glenview. Don't put Glenview Elementary, don't put Glenview Oakland, don't put Glenview at Santa Fe, don't put what am I doing here. Put just Glenview, okay? And then a choice about Glenview, Oakland will come up. You'd click that. It might go to a window that says, oops, wrong account. Just click the switch accounts and then choose your S underscore account. So it's another one of those wonderful technology lessons that I've told you about so many times where you just have to persevere, look at the cues and the clues, and hey, this is the learning opportunity. Look at your technology skills. You can do this. So that's one of your assignments. GetOnClever.com at home. And when you do, go to ST Math. But I'll be putting up some other things on there. But let's just start there. You can definitely go to Google Docs from there. Okay, if any of you are having trouble with algorithm multiplication, whoa, there we go, adjust. The Math Antics Multi-Digit Multiplication Part 2 on YouTube is an amazing explanation. Okay, let's jump right into Balloon Boy. I love keeping up on this book because it's teaching us so much about the gold rush, everyday life, and kind of a story. Chapter 9. On May 2nd, Reddy sold papers in the morning and delivered boxes of produce in the afternoon. He passed the post office and he realized that he hadn't checked the letters in 2 days. No sooner had he crossed the threshold when the clerk yelled at him, "Reddy Gates! Frank Wyman picked up letters for 100 men this morning, including your Joseph Peckham." He raced to the counter. "Who's Wyman?" "He's a private agent. Men pay to register their names and he picks up their mail. The hard winter put him out of business for a while, but he's back in town and he's back at it." "How can I find him?" The clerk leaned across the counter and said, "He's staying at the Rasset House. It's a hotel." Rented sprinted to the 5-story hotel on the corner of Sansom and Bush, San Francisco. And he asked for Frank Wyman. "Oh, Mr. Wyman's registered here, but he's out. So to get what's going on, Joseph Peckham's letters has been sent for. That means he's alive." "Where's Lydia? I have to have news about her brother." "What?" He went to his mother and explained briefly. "Do you think she's at Mrs. Salem's?" His mother's face brightened. Was it the first smile he's had since father's accident? "Our Lydia has a social engagement tonight, Reddy. She has been invited to dinner and to theater by a young man, a suitable young man, you know." "Suitable for what?" "Regardless of her brother, she must start planning for her own future, Reddy. She's almost 17. She doesn't want to go back to Vermont. The sooner she finds herself a good husband, the better off she'll be." Please remember, this is the 1850s. "A husband? She's young. She doesn't have to worry about that yet," said Reddy. "You sound just like Lydia when I suggested she accept Horace's invitation." "Horace? You mean Horace Fitz, the fireman, our boarder?" "Strong, good-looking fireman?" His mother nodded. "He's very promising, you know. He has a steady job. He writes to his mother often. He attends church every Sunday, and I can tell you, he's been sweet on Lydia since she walked through the door. He only needed a little encouragement to invite her. Encouragement? You arranged this, didn't you, Mother?" "I'm too busy to arrange anyone's social life, young man, but when Horace confided his interest in Lydia, I suggested he pursue it." She smiled again. "You're not the only one who can help a damsel in distress. You find the brother, Joseph Peckham, and I'll find the husband," she said to Reddy. "The brother!" He slapped his face. "Where is she and Horace going tonight?" "Oh, they're going to dine at a French restaurant and see Mrs. Baker at the Adelphi Theater." "Don't hold supper for me." He ran out the door. Reddy tried 3 French restaurants, no luck. He'd have to catch them at the theater. He got to the Adelphi just before curtain time. Should he wait outside until it was over? He shivered in the wind for a few minutes. He bought the cheapest seat available, and he went inside. Besides, people always raved about what a great actress Mrs. Baker was. He could see for himself. The first play, The Bride of Lammermoor, was a tragedy. He couldn't concentrate. Reddy continued to brew as the play went on. When the curtain closed and the lights came on, he stood in the balcony searching the theater below. No sign. He went to the balcony below and spotted them returning to their seats. But then the lights went down. He'd have to sit through the performance. The second play, starring Mrs. Baker, was a comedy called Married Life. Why was it that at 16, Lydia was considering a woman old enough for marriage? When he himself turned 16, he would still be considered a boy. And why this rush to marry Lydia off? He knew his brother was worried about the girl, but marriage? That's so drastic. Thank goodness Frank Wyman had shown up, and he would lead them to Lydia's brother, and Reddy's mother could get out of the matchmaking business. Reddy found Lydia and Horace in the lobby after the final curtain. He noticed Horace's freshly barbered hair and new suit of clothes. Lydia must have gone shopping too. She didn't get that green silk dress from the relief committee. They did look like an attractive couple, he hated to admit. Lydia was elated to hear about Frank Wyman. She was eager to leave for the Rassett house. They moved towards the front door, but there was a big commotion. People in the street ran, shouted, bells clanged, horses neighed. When they made it outside, there was smoke, and the street glowed orange. A dozen men rushed down the street, pulling a fire engine. It's the Monumentals. I must join them. He tore off his coat, and he thrust his coat ready. Take this, and see Lydia home. And then Horace, the fireman, disappeared into the chaotic night. What's on fire? That's that big hotel at Sansom and Bush. Oh my God, the Rassett house! He grabbed Lydia's hand and he started running. Lydia hitched up to her skirts and ran with him. Reddy flung Horace's coat and his own to an enclosure and kept running. I'll get them tomorrow. At the corner of Sansom and Bush, they saw a wall of flames shooting in all directions. The Monumentals had already dropped their suction hose into the cistern under Bush Street. 8 men pumped the pumper rails. The intense heat vaporized the water before it even touched the flames. They pumped on. Firemen everywhere, hundreds of them carrying ladders and hoses and axes. Hotel guests in night clothes huddled across the street watching. Not everyone was out. Some waited on the ledges for the firemen to reach them with ladders. Others jumped. Then in the distance, beyond the firemen, he noticed a small figure dangling from the hotel's second-story ledge. Was it a child? He broke into a strong run, dodging firemen. He looked up to see a little girl surrounded by flames, terror on her face. Just as her fingers lost their grip, he stretched out his arm to catch her. Her weight pushed him backwards. To his surprise, Lydia stood right behind him, breaking his fall. Together, the 3 of them ran for safety, the child sobbing against Reddy's shoulder. When Reddy and Lydia returned to the corner of Sansom and Bush, they found a pile of black rubble. The next day, not a plank of wood or scrap or fabric had escaped the flames. In what had been the hotel kitchen, charred remnants of a stove were covered with melted pots and pans. To their relief, they learned that no one had died, but it took them all day to find Frank Wyman. He was at the hospital with a broken foot from jumping out the window. I was asleep when a loud noise waked me. Then I realized the floor, the walls, everything was on fire. I ran to the window and I jumped through it. Luckily, I was only on the 2nd floor. Mr. Wyman, what about the letters? Ashes. Do you remember Joseph Peckham? Were you supposed to give him letters? The agent shook his head feebly. I registered men from Downeyville to Placerville. My list burned up too. I don't remember Joseph Peckham. But he did get his letters. So that's the end of the chapter. Okay, guys, remember, get on Clever and take a look at the unicorn. And above all, guys, during these uncertain times, create, relax, and relax. All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.